Okay, very good. We are recording this session now. Just started.
You're on mute, honey.
Sorry, that was my fault. That was my fault. I'm sorry.
Good to start off that way, just to get it out of the way, right?
I was admitting someone and the screen shifted and I muted Alberto. So, woohoo!
Okay, good. Hello, everyone. My name is Alberto Loya, and I'm a member of the Central Regional Council. And I would like to welcome all of you to today's session on Whit Sunday. A few practicalities first. Please stay on mute and stop your video during the performance. That way, you will be able to better see the performers themselves. And then there will be a segment in the middle of the session today where you will have a chance to go into small groups and turn your video on and mute yourselves. We are recording the session. It would be best if you put your Zoom in gallery view. That would be the best setting to see the performers. Okay, I think with that, I'm going to introduce the participants today, beginning with Marianne Bieber.
Hello, welcome. I am in Libertyville, Illinois, an outgoing member of the CRC and also outgoing representative to the ASA.
Lisa Dalton.
Hello, I'm Lisa Dalton. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, and I am currently a member serving on the Central Regional Council.
Hazel Archer Ginsberg.
Hi, here I am in Chicago, the great inland sea. And work as the festival's coordinator here at the Rudolf Steiner branch. Been in the CRC for a few years, and we'll be stepping into Marianne Fieber's role as the representative on the General Council. Glad to see everyone.
And we have some special guests today. We have Mary Mertz.
Hi, I'm in Central Kansas.
And Camille Vettraino.
Hello, I'm in Frankfort, Michigan, by Lake Michigan, and I apologize for my broken camera.
Our eurythmist today will be Elizabeth Carlson, who is zooming in from Wales.
Yes, I am. I'm coming in from Wales, but I'm from New York State. Yep.
And very special guest, Ultraviolet Archer, who is going to perform some music for us.
Hey, I'm calling in from Järna, Sweden, over at the International Youth Initiative Program. Happy to be here.
Okay, and for those of you who receive our CRC emails, you may know by now that we're starting a new theme on the Holy Grail. So we read the last chapter of the Manifestations of Karma book in May, and we're going to start with this book in June. So we have sent the details already, including a link with the lectures that we will be reading this time, in case you don't have the book yet. And please contact me if you have any questions about that. Okay, so today the team is going to perform Pageant, written by Hazel, based on the topic of this topic, Mysteries of the Holy Grail, that we are about to start studying. Hazel, would you like to say anything about the play before we get started? Inspiration or?
Well, yeah, exactly. That this, how do we connect this Grail theme to the Festival of Whitsun? And maybe I will take an opportunity to just say that these are indications from Rudolf Steiner, Rene, Querido, Eleanor C. Mary, all the big names, Wolfram, von Eschenbach, and dear Richard Wagner, right? So living into all these different versions of what is the Holy Grail. So we're gonna take a little pilgrimage together. Thank you all.
Okay, so without any further ado, let's.
Just one little further ado. Now would be a perfect time for everyone to go ahead and turn your videos off, which should allow you to watch gallery view with the presenters. Beautiful. You guys are doing a great job. If you have a problem with that, Alberto or I may help you with it. And then additionally, there's a selection which allows you to watch, to view video to not view
Speaker view.
video to, what am I trying to say here? To not see
The boxes,
Are you
the
non-video
squares.
non-video performers. There.
Okay.
Yes. There you go.
We just had 2 new people joining, but I think we're ready to start.
Okay, beautiful.
What mystery is unfolding in the heart fires we are holding? In our hands we are molding the grail in our beholding. What mystery is unfolding in the heart fires we are holding? In our hands we are molding the grail in our beholding.
The San Grail.
The chaste chalice.
The Cauldron of Ceridwen.
The Eucharist cup.
The jewel from the crown of Lucifer.
The Holy Grail.
The Goblet of Sophia.
The sacred vessel.
The Black Madonna of Chartres.
The eternal fountain.
Ever full, overflowing, ever open to receiving, stirring, pouring, transubstantiation, changing water into wine, blood into earth, air into fire, death into life. The alchemical marriage uniting us all.
The Holy Grail is the esoteric image of the whole of evolution, a living container that connects the ancient wisdom centers with esoteric Christianity. It is a key to the new mysteries which are ever emerging in our time. The Grail integrates the etherized blood of the Christos with the feminine aspect of the Holy Spirit, which descends on Whit Sunday like tongues of fire, first to the heads of the disciples, penetrating then into their hearts, opening the larynx along the way, enabling them to speak the language of the heart.
The disciples, baptized by fire, become apostles. They are now able to put the secret teachings of the risen Christ, given to them over the 50 days between Easter and Pentecost, into practice out in the world. This is the first founding of the modern Grail science, which we are called to take up in our work of building the temple of the heart.
The alchemists of old called it the great work, the art of crafting the philosopher's stone or the lapis elixir. For the Rosicrucian, it was an inner alchemy of thinking through willing, united by love.
What mystery is unfolding in the heart fires we are holding? In our hands we are molding the grail in our beholding.
In ancient times on the Emerald Isle, those who were called Druids gathered in their sacred oak grove, where they witnessed the deed of Golgotha as it was happening, at the very turning point of time. For them, the ancient Grail motif was already living in the Celtic cauldron of the goddess Ceridwen, stirring with the wisdom of transformation and rebirth, providing nourishment to the people and the land.
Hear now the voice of Ceridwen.
Sprung from Danu, the goddess of the Proto-Celts, I am Ceridwen. From my cauldron of knowledge and inspiration, connecting the heights, the expanses, and the depths, the refrain of the fixed stars, the song-telling of the bard, and the mystic moan in the bowels of the underworld. It is I who initiates the cycles of life from the womb to the tomb. If you are to find me, the quest begins in the wisdom word of the scriptures and the Apocrypha, where I am known as Sophia, the first creation of God, an emanation of the divine light. I am called co-creator and mediator between God and the world. And I speak to you now from the threshold of the depths, where I have watched my Celtic cauldron ever transforming, re-envisioned as the cup used by the Christos at the Last Supper, as well as the vessel for the spiritualized blood of this cosmic sun god, and the chalice of the Eucharist.
The word, the logos, linked with wisdom, the Sophia, was a practice of the Essenes prior to the birth of the Jesus children. This Sophianic theme is ready to be understood, renewed, and developed further.
What mystery is unfolding in the heart fires we are holding? In our hands we are molding the grail in our beholding, the grail in our beholding, the grail in our beholding.
Christian mystic and alchemist Jakob Bohm tells us, the Sophia is the seeing as Holy Spirit, the mirror as Son, and the eye as Father. The noble Sophia hides herself in the fountain of Christ. This mystic poem gives us a glimpse of her role as the creative power of the divine, the heavenly figure of wisdom and the world soul, which is the divine presence within creation.
The paradoxical nature of Sophia's chalice is that while it provides limitless nourishment, it is at the same time an empty vessel. For the Grail is the receptive ground from which all nature arises, and into which the divine pours itself. Its mystery is that the Grail contains all things, and yet it is open, pure, virginal.
Gazing deeply into the Grail, following the meditative practice of spiritual science, its essence opens, the seeming void of deep space beyond time, before creation or mortality.
Zum Raum wird hier die Zeit. Zum Raum wird hier die Zeit. Zum Raum wird hier die Zeit. Here space becomes time.
These polarities of existence are expressed in the many images of the Grail. The primal cauldron of the goddess, which gives both life and death. The chalice of Christ's blood, which represents the suffering of Good Friday and the joy of Easter. And the world soul, experienced through the expansion into the heights of ascension, which then calls down the tongues of fire at Pentecost, bringing the Holy Spirit into our will.
Philosopher and friend to Goethe, Friedrich Schiller once said, "Take the divine into your will, and it descends from its cosmic throne."
Our modern Grail quest must follow the pathways of the Sophia hidden in the chalice of Christ. For the Grail is also the vessel of Sophia. A major theme of the Grail stories is the loss of this Grail, the loss of the world soul, the soul of the world, the dismemberment of Isis Sophia.
The Whitsun verse by Rudolf Steiner. There first, where sense can know no more, stands the portal which discloses life reality to soul being. This portal's key the soul may fashion, if she herself grow strong within the strife, by world powers waged on their own ground with human forces. If, of her own accord, she puts to flight the sleep which at the frontier of her senses cloaks the forces of knowledge in spirit night.
When we are once again able to hear Sophia's message, we will realize that every created thing is seeded with the divine. When we drink from her cup, we become aware of the sacredness of the natural world.
What mystery is unfolding in the heart fires we are holding? In our hands we are molding the Grail in our beholding.
The Grail as both the chalice of Christ and the Cauldron of Sophia brings a differentiated wholeness consisting of a dynamic balance between love and wisdom, expressed as the Sangreal of Christos Sophia.
The sacrifice of Christ can be associated on the imperfect human level with the Fisher King, who's prominent in many of the Grail stories. The wounded king symbolizes the image of Christ without the Sophia.
The sacred spear turned against the punished, the king for his impurity and weakness, inflicting a wound that could not be healed, leaving the king maimed, kept alive only by the power of the Grail.
After this, the Holy Grail and the sacred spear were hidden from human eyes, taken into safekeeping in the spiritual world. The fertility of the land, linked to that of the king, became a barren wasteland until the time when he could be healed by the question, which is especially potent today: what ails thee?
The Arthurian spirit speaks.
Heretofore, from my castle in the north, at the edge of the sea, which the cliff divides in two, and where wild waves rise and crash, my knights of the Round Table gazed with eyes of spirit to observe the interplay between light and air. They communicated with spirit beings streaming to earth in the rays of the sun and mirrored in the glittering raindrops. In this seeing, they were filled with a pagan piety, a surrender of intellect to the manifold spiritual beings working in nature. As king, I held the power of the sun at noontide, and they, my 12 knights of the Round Table, were as the constellations of the zodiac, working together to bring civilizing forces to Europe under the banner of the mighty Archangel Michael. For many a generation we gathered at the time of Pentecost to complete the threefold movable feast of Easter. But when the cosmic intelligence fell from Michael into the hands of humanity, our task in its ancient form was complete, and a more inward Christianity with a different gesture arose from the castle in the south. The cosmic intelligence, no longer drawn from the heavens and reflected through the elements, was now meant to be cultivated in the heart of the human being.
Hear now the voice of the initiate who holds the title of Parzival.
Born from heart's sorrow and a brave knight I never knew, raised in seclusion, I was the pure fool, unconscious of my true divine nature. My dullness of soul, combined with an unbridled will to action, made me rude and insensitive to the death and suffering of others. Wandering unprepared and lost, my horse led me to the Grail Castle in the south. Not having developed sufficient compassion, I neglected to ask my host, the Fisher King, about his mysterious wound or about the magical happenings in the castle. unconsciously bound by the karma of my former life as the youth of Sais, I was unable to think beyond the advice I was given to not be too curious, which had once been my downfall. For the Akashic Chronicles tell that in the time of ancient Egypt, I was too bold, lifting the veil of Isis, which was then forbidden. My curiosity in that case cost me my life. At the Grail Castle, as the pure fool, my failure to ask, "What ails thee?" cast me out. Confused, I rode off, meeting my cousin Segune along the way, holding her beloved husband Shionatalander in the tableau of the Pietà. Another recapitulation of those Egyptian times, symbolizing the metamorphosis of Isis with Horus. Into the Christian montage, holding the secret of death and rebirth, and how the spiritual is connected to the physical. Eventually, I came to realize that my true name is not pure fool, but means instead to perceive or pierce the veil, a sign that I must become the light that pierces the valley of the shadow of darkness through trial and tribulation. To do the great work is to achieve initiation step by step. For this is the search of the Grail. Durch Mitleid wissend, through compassion to knowing. I came to this by taking the Christ path of discipline and catharsis. To be the Parzival is to realize the Rosicrucian dictum, ex Deo nascimur.
From God we are born.
In Christo morimer.
In Christ, death becomes life.
Per spiritum sanctum revivissimus.
In the Spirit's cosmic thoughts, the soul awakens.
What mystery is unfolding in the heart fires we are holding? In our hands we are molding the Grail in our beholding.
So, ladies and gentlemen, a question arises. Have you ever been inspired to ask someone what ails thee and what happened? And have you ever wanted to ask the sacred question but missed the moment? We are going to invite you now to enter into a breakout room where you will join 2 or 3 other people and have about 15 minutes to share your thoughts around these questions. What does it mean to pierce the veil? Or if you go off in some other direction, that's perfectly fine too. And it's just our suggestion that you consider when you've asked what ails thee and what happened, or if you missed the chance. Hazel, is there anything you want to add to that?
That's a whole lot. There's a whole lot of something right there. Yeah, have fun with it.
Great. So I am going to open the rooms now. Feel free to turn on your cameras also when you go in there. Roberta and Douglas, are you going to join a room? Ultra, are you going to join a room?
Hey, Lisa,
Yes.
looks like room number 9. Only Travis is the only one there. Let me try to move him to room number, which one?
So I just moved, so I just moved someone out. So someone who's got 2, room 5.
Shall I move him to room 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
There, great.
Are you counting time now?
Yeah, let me just see. Normally I have it set, but in fact, no, I'm not.
Okay, I know here in Eastern time, we started at 2:35.
Welcoming everybody back. Welcome back, welcome back. Marianne, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, is everybody back?
Not yet.
No. Okay.
When the participants kick up, you'll see.
So could you see, Lisa, how the groups were distributed? Mary and I were in a group together, which is beautiful.
I saw that. I was like, I bet they're having a great conversation. Yeah.
That's good.
We're getting close
All
here.
right, we are getting close. Very good.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute.
Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a lovely chance to grapple with the question, the healing question. And so we'll have a bit of a large group sharing. So if you would please, if you have something to share out of your group, either raise your physical hand and we'll try and see you, or down in the reactions on the bottom of your screen, many of you may have a reactions bar and you can, or a reactions area, and you can pop up the little hand. Oh yeah, Lisa just did it too. And we'll try and see you. Also, if you click on your participants and see all of your participants in the box to the right-hand side, you can also raise your hand there. And Lisa will help track as well as I. But please share out of your group. Anybody like to start?
I can start. I'll just say quickly, we were trying to identify what we would want to work on, and one of the participants suggested perseverance becomes strength, because that was their mantra for the month. I was grappling with compassion to wisdom, and I figured it out by talking, actually. So that was interesting. And yeah, so that, and I met new people, you know, which I love these Zooms because we're meeting new people from around the world. This is really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And I see Bruce.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
I'm new to all this. Thank you for the pageant. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Do you want to share out of your Zoom room chat?
And there's more to come, so stay tuned.
It certainly
Oh.
didn't seem like 15 minutes.
Their conversation
really?
time?
Yeah, it just felt like
It can
time
go
moved.
fast. Yeah, so anybody have other than the time sped by, anybody else have a revelation or an aha moment? Yes, Sandra, I see you. Thank you.
We covered several bumps in the ground, but one thing the question that we kind of mulled for a while was how it is that the Grail can be full and empty at the same time, and we kind of thought out loud about that, and I wouldn't even trust myself to try to report back what we came up with, but just that as something to contemplate was quite rich. And I'll just add that somewhere, and it might have been in Hazel's blog, honest to God, I forget where I read, you just so much comes in, that very recently, within the last 24 hours, somewhere in one of these worlds, I read that the Grail, among many other things, many ways to think of it, but that it is actually the entirety of human evolution. And that was the first time I had been exposed to that idea. And that is like, let's think about that for the next 6 months. It's big,
that's from Steiner. That is a Steiner quote.
Hazel, I figured it came through you. Yeah, but I had not seen that before. And that's really worthy of a lot of meditation.
Thank you, Sandra. Anyone else? Just jump in so you're, oh, I see now some hands. Linda and then Travis.
Hi, this is Linda from the suburbs of Chicago, and I just wanted to say thank you for being here and doing this and holding this space. And I feel like those topics are so deep. Just the topic of asking someone what ails them feels like it's just holding space, which sometimes just the space is enough to support someone so that they can reveal what their experience is going on and all the depths of that. So our group, it was hard to really, I mean, there's so much there. We didn't even get to that. And I wanted to talk about that. But I just want to comment on that for the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. Travis.
Hey, thank you, Mary Ann. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, there were just two of us in the group as well. I had a really nice conversation with Ultraviolet. So thank you, Ultraviolet, for your insights there. And you know what came to me when you asked the question, what ails thee? And over the last few weeks, since we finished up the manifestations of karma, I've really been thinking about how those, trying to gain more awareness of how those Luciferic forces work into my body, triggering those harmonic response and how that plays. So today, when you ask me what ails thee, it's my lack of awareness of how Lucifer and Arma are working in my being and playing a part in the decisions I make, in the actions that I take, and the thoughts that I hold. And that piercing the veil is that really, it's that Christ light coming in and shining light on that. And the way the Grail is full and empty, because I am full of these Luciferic and Harmonic tendencies that just pull me all directions. And at the same time, I am filled with the light of Christ that just illuminates it all. And so, yeah, I think that's what I got from it. It's those Luciferic, harmonic forces playing back and forth, and learning to redeem those, to recognize those, to acknowledge those, and it really is, and maybe it is just it's like that just being, you know, observed and just being noticed and just being acknowledged. And, you know, I had a really cool thought, and I don't want to get us away from the topic here, but, you know, thinking about those Ahrimanic and those Luciferic influences. And I was thinking in terms of nonviolent communication. I know some of you have done that. And you think in terms of how we get an observation, and that observation triggers some antipathy or some sympathy within us, a feeling that we like and we don't like. And that immediately, you know, brings in that Ahrimanic influence. And I'm guessing here, this is my theory, of a need. That I think there's some need, that Ahrimanic, the need is coming from some Ahrimanic, and I need this and I need that. And then that how it all plays in there. And there's something there. I'm not quite seeing it, but I wanted to put that out there. If you know the NVC, think about that, how these Luciferic and these Ahrimanic, the observation, triggering something within us. And what I'm focusing on now is that sense of what is it within me that triggers? What is that antipathy, and what is that sympathy when I feel something? Where does that come from? And I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out the answer to that. So,
Brilliant. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
And what is the need of the heart? That's what rose for me when you were saying that. So that in the middle there, Lisa Dalton has her hand up. And then Rosemary.
Yes, some years ago, I had the wonderful privilege of working with Luigi on a pageant for the, talking about the League of the Iroquois Nation and the White Roots of Peace. And when I think about one of the fundamental premises in that legend, it is that the League always begins all negotiations, all meetings, essentially, with a condolence prayer, which basically says you have a right to your grief and your sorrow. And I see with the following concept that a grieving mind cannot negotiate. So to acknowledge that we have the right to grieve in a way is, for me, connected to this question of what ails thee. It is acknowledging that not only do you have an ail, but you actually have a right, you are entitled, in effect, giving space for having these aches and these ails, and then allowing space for that.
Thanks. Thank you, Lisa. Rosemary.
Our topic was what ails thee to a fellow seeker means what pain are you having now? What's your latest pain? Because pain and suffering is essential on the spiritual path. Wisdom is crystallized pain. So I have a dear friend who's an anthroposophist who's been suffering from mental illness all her life. She's been committed to the hospital 14 times and has seen a lot of demonic beings, etc. And so she's had a tremendous pain. But then I remember when I shared Rudolf Steiner's Lord's Prayer, which has the line, "You do not allow the tempter to work on us beyond the capacity of our strength." That line totally blew her into bliss because she felt like she had been taxed to the limit of her strength so many times, but that was the Lord's task for her. And I was reminded that I should definitely call her and wish her a good Whitsun.
Very nice. Thank you. Patricia Smith, welcome. Unmute. There you go. Oh, and back. There you go.
There. We quickly established that we were all in the healing professions in one way or another. And there's this, have I asked the question, maybe when we do our workshop at night or something like that, and that, well, we always have another chance, not to judge ourselves too harshly, but to keep on trying. And another thing that came up was that those people who are disabled or those who are technically being helped also gain a lot from being able to help someone else. Particularly, a couple of us worked with the developmentally disabled, that's an essential part of life, and even a right to be able to help someone else, not to always be regarded as the one who needs help. And by the same token, that the healer is also being healed by the so-called ill person. So that came around very beautifully, I thought.
Thank you. Just a call for any last words, otherwise we can carry on. We have a little bit more of our program, and we'll be doing some Eurythmy in a little bit as well. Oh, Mary?
I just had noticed that Catherine Allen had her hand up before.
Oh,
Catherine, do you still want to say something?
Well, it's a little bit at variance with what I've already heard, but I was with Mary Tom. There were just the two of us, and we talked about what are some of the requirements to pierce the veil. And after we went through, one, courage, and then what that leads to. And then finally, she asked the question, what brought you to anthroposophy? And so both of us did a biography sharing. And from that, we started way back. And what came to light is the fact that even when we didn't know, either one of us didn't know that we were headed for Anthroposophia, the being, that we were led, that there were pointers, there were people, whether we were conscious or not, but it opened all of these experiences that we were describing as young people and children were experiences that opened the heart and opened the mind. And so we were ready, or we were made prepared. Yeah. That was
Beautiful.
it. That was
our
sharing.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you very much, Catherine, and thanks for seeing that. And Richard Halford.
Yes, this was something that just came up when speaking about patients. And I was in a doctor's office last week. I'm going to see this doctor for the first time. It's a checkup. And there was a quotation on the wall from Albert Schweitzer. And it's, patients carry their own doctor inside. They come to us knowing that in truth we are at our best when we give the physician who resides within each patient a chance to go to work.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a beautiful note to end on. Yes, thumbs up. So let us.
Wow, yes. I mean, after rich conversations, small group, large group conversations like that, it seems like the perfect time. Hazel, you organized this so well. The perfect time to remember something that Rudolf Steiner tells us in his philosophy of spiritual activity, or philosophy of freedom. Only because human individuals are one spirit can they also enjoy life side by side. The free person lives in confidence that the other free person belongs with them to a spiritual world, and in their highest intentions will meet with them.
Yeah, that's Steiner. Boy, he gives us so much, doesn't he? And it was only 1907. He was still part of the Theosophical Society at that time. But he created this Whitsun Congress as a new Rosicrucian Grail impulse. And there's pictures you can see where he displays the 7 seals of St. John's Apocalypse, which represent the 7 stages of human evolution and of the Christian initiation, right? So this, at this conference, in conjunction with the Rose Cross meditation, Steiner revealed, and here's another amazing quote, in future, the larynx becomes a pure, chaste chalice, which when fructified by the Spirit is offered up to the holy lance of love. This union is the symbol of the Holy Grail in its highest ideal.
Yes, the spirit, the Whitsun spirit, came alive again through Rudolf Steiner for the 3rd time in history with the refounding of the Anthroposophical Society at the Christmas conference. The deed of laying the foundation stone of love into the hearts of those connected with the anthroposophical movement created what Steiner called a world Whitsun, the renewing of wisdom connected with Steiner's deed of love and sacrifice, inaugurated the possibility for the human soul to transform into a chalice for Anthroposophia.
And the nature of this quest and the Parsifal question, what ails thee, indicates that it continues in our time. We all felt that, I think, in this small group conversation. For the social realm, how we relate with one another is the stage of the new mysteries, where we must take interest in the other.
The quest to bring wholeness to the Christ impulse and the related quest to unveil the Sophia remain unfinished today. Both these quests, which really mirror images of the one quest, have been left for our modern age to complete. So now we're going to get to work and do a little bit. We're going to get up out of our seats now. We're going to get out of listening mode. And I'm going to invite our dear Eurythmist, Elizabeth, to come forward now. And we're going to put the spotlight on her. And she's going to bring us an amazing verse from Steiner that we can work with. Thank you, and welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Hazel. Thank you very much. I want to say just 1 or 2 things to start. And that is that, first of all, I won't be able to see you as we're working. And also, I realize that it's a challenge to do Eurythmy in front of a camera. And so please feel free to step away from your camera or do whatever you need to do to be with the movement more, even though we've got this challenged method. Okay, so we have a very, very little bit of time, and I'm just hoping I can bring something to you that is whole and relevant to our theme. So we're going to be working on that form, and I think there is a slide where you can see it more closely. Just to not to speak very much, but I just would like to point to a couple of themes that I'd like you to try to carry with you as we go along. And it won't be, it's exactly these themes that we've been working with. Very much the Holy Spirit in the will. You will discover that this form is just in the essence of that it looks simple, but it's not. And also this transformational theme of how one thing turns into the other. And as you can see, there's that the two spirals grow out of each other. And to move that is quite difficult and surprising experience. So thank you, Alberto, for that picture. I'm a bit confused. I've never really done a Zoom before. So I don't know if you can see me right now, but all I can see is my form. Thanks, that's great. Okay, so just to try and do a miracle, the next thing I want to say to you is, you can do things very small. It doesn't have to be very big. And only do what is comfortable for you. So we're going to just start. Can you still hear me when I step back?
We can, and I'll remind everyone that we are seeing in reverse.
Oh God, right. Don't do that yet. Okay, so I'm going to just try to go through a little progression that hopefully makes some sense to you. So we're going to start with just inside and outside. So inside being inside of us and outside being outside of us. Yes, that's the things that we've been sitting. And so this is a big transition into now suddenly moving. So let's try and just feel, I'm going to just start with that little exercise where we feel a vessel of light up from the middle of our body, light coming from our hearts and rising upwards. Light streams upward. And then another triangle from the middle of our body down into our feet. Weight bears downward. And now you want to hold that for a minute. And in this area, the two of them meeting will create a free space and a living space, a freeing space. So we will let go of that again and build it. Light streams upward. Weight bears downward. That's great. And now we're going to go to the inside and the outside. So here we are, the inside, and there's the outside. Now what I'd like you to do as a picture of the outside is to make a circle around yourself. Just freely, however you want to do it. But what I mainly want you to do is try to feel every part of around you. So the back, which is the spirit space, moving back to the spirit, then to the right, into the physical, forward, into the soul really, and to the left, which is more to the etheric. So we just want to, never mind about all of that, but just a circle around you that you can feel every part of it. And that's the around, the outside. And now come to the inside. To the outside, and we'll make that circle. And to the inside. And now I would like us to make that circle actually walking in a circle. Do you see what I mean? So we're just going to walk in a circle. And once again, feeling all of the space reaching in every direction around. So now we want to connect that outside circle to the inside. How are we going to do that? We're going to make that circle pull in and get smaller to spiral in and come to the middle. Come to the inside. Now you're in the inside. Instantly, from the inside, you're in a new outside, and you're going backwards as if it were a circle, but you're drawing it together, spiraling, and now you are in a new center in the back. Do you see that what we've done is this form? So we'll do that a couple of times. From the outside, closing in to the inside. Let go from the outside, backwards, closing in to a new inside. Let it go. Coming forward, a new outside to a different inside. This is the one that's closer to the earth, to our senses. Let that one go and get a new outside. Bring it in, and you've got a new inside in the spirit. You know that the text for this form is translated, we seek the soul, towards us streams the spirit. I'm doing it in the German language because the German language is just what Steiner used, and it really works so well. So the German words, and I hope some of you are comfortable with them, know them. Wir suchen die Seele. Uns strahlet der Geist. So let's just do those spirals again, and with those words. Wir suchen, we're seeking the soul. To us streams the spirit. Close it into a new center. New outside. We seek the soul outside to inside. New outside. To us streams the spirit. Once with the German, wir suchen die Seele. Uns strahlet der Geist. And now what we want to add to the inside and outside qualities is with the words, we want to say, wir suchen die Seele. Let's do that a couple of times. Wir suchen die Seele. One more time. Wir suchen die Seele. And now we'll do it with the form going forward. Here we go. Wir suchen die Seele. And these are vowels that we're doing. We have to think of them as we're almost singing. These are singing sounds. So we'll try that again. Wir suchen. Let it stream, and Seele. Now comes uns strahlet der Geist. We're not doing vowels anymore. This is Steiner's idea. We're doing consonants, which are not streaming from the inside anymore. They are coming from the outside. And They are, we reflect these forces. They're formative forces, and we reflect them by recreating them, the consonants. So we're going to do L. Hazel tells me you all know Eurythmy, so I hope you do. So this is the L sound. It's a water sound. I don't know if you can see me. It's a very balanced, sculptural, not earthbound, strahlet, and G. G. We're going for Geist. G. G. S. 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 And T. T. So we're doing those consonants on the way back towards the spirit space. The vowels towards the, on the way forward. We'll try that. Wir suchen die Seele. Change, consonants. Wir strahlen und strahlet der Geist. Once again, wir suchen die Seele. Uns strahlt der Geist. So what you've probably are experiencing that it's not easy to make those curves. Is that true? Anybody? I don't know if you hear me. You all on mute.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, good.
The
Yeah,
challenge
so-
is making the curves and remembering the gestures at the same time. But the more I do it, the better I get.
You got it. So it's so hard, definitely. And we wouldn't want to any other way. So that's the difference, you know. It's really not just the same as we're used to. This is something that we really have to do. So thank you for being willing to do it. And so what I'd like us to do is maybe just go through it again. That's the content, that's the extent of it. We don't need to learn anything more. And so we'll just go over it a couple of times. But the main thing is to feel that moment when the spiral, the first one ends, and then the next one, it's a new breath, it's a new reality. And that it really just reminds me of that Grail quality where it's full and it's empty and it's everything at the same time. So we'll try to bring that into what we're doing. Okay, so actually I'd like us to do it 7 times. And Mary was going to speak it for us.
Camille is going to speak it.
But before we do, I'd like us to really get the dynamic, which is wir suchen. There's the big breath on there. Wir suchen, and then never mind, and die Seele. So it's 2 big breaths. Woo, eh. And now we've got some more breaths. Uns strahlet. That's one breath. Let that one be. And then Geist. And that's hard. I know it is. But it's one big breath. And that's what we want to look for, is that swing, that breath that goes together with those spirals. Okay, so we'll try that for 7 times. And try to hear the words yourself, because yeah, that'll be great. So here we go. It's a question whether I should say it as well. Well, I will. Here we are. And wir suchen diese uns strahlt der Geist. Wir suchen diese uns strahlt der Geist. Wir suchen, it's a breathing out, die Seele. And now from inside, wir uns strahlt der Geist. Wir suchen die Seele. 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 Uns strahlt der Geist. Now just quietly take a breath. And now we will do our exercise to end. So a chalice of light coming from the middle of the body up and another vessel going downwards. Light streams upward. Weight bears downward. And that is so liberating to just be in those two. Light streams upward. Weight bears downward.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
That is so beautiful.
Beautiful. Do you mind just repeating one more time? Light streams upward.
Yes.
And what was? And
Weight.
then
Weight.
Weight. Weight. Heaviness.
And what goes downwards?
Weight. Bears.
Weight.
Oh. Thank you.
Weight.
Weight.
Yeah.
Stream,
Weight.
Weight. Stream,
WEIGHT, weight, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gravity.
Yeah. Weight streams downward. Okay.
Ja.
Thank you.
Licht strömt aufwärts. Schwere lastet abwärts.
Schwere lastet abwärts.
Schwere lastet abwärts.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful, everyone. We are about to wrap it up. And if we have just a few minutes, if there are any final thoughts from our participants who have joined us today, is there anyone who'd like to share a closing thought? That was very powerful, Eurythmy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to? You can just unmute if there's something to share. And also just dwell in this. Hazel?
Yeah, you know, I would like to make a request that after we hear the Steiner verse, that Ultraviolet sings the song one more time to lead us out, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You? Okay, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you for making this possible to deepen my understanding of this very important journey that I'm on.
Thank you, Sarah. And a big thank you from the CRC to all of you for joining us, to Hazel for crafting this amazing, beautiful script, and for our special guests like Mary and Camille and Ultraviolet and Catherine. Just a lot of gratitude to you all for the opportunity to create this.
Elizabeth, you mean Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, I do mean. Sorry, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Excuse me, may I just ask one more question? What the lady read out of the philosophy of spiritual activity, what chapter was that? Was that 9? I really would like to find it.
You know,
Hazel, that might be yours.
I can't think of it right now. Maybe you could help me do that research, and if you find it, let me know. I think you're right that it is chapter 9, but I don't know offhand. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you remember how it started?
Yeah, that Steiner quote, the link in the chat, is that to that quote there, Hazel?
No, that's the other quote from how to know, not from that's not one from Philosophy of Freedom. That's the one that somebody else asked for about the evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one she's meaning maybe is only because human individuals are one spirit, can they also enjoy life side by side? The free person lives in confidence that the other free person belongs with them to a spiritual world, and in their highest intentions will meet with them. Is that the one you mean, Helena?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now where I heard it again, I may find it. Hopefully.
Hopefully. And then let us know if you find it.
Yeah.
We are co-creators on this path.
Oh, isn't it? But it is so lovely to be with you. It enriched so much and so many questions again.
Excellent.
Thank you, Honey. For anybody who is not on the Central Regional Council's emailing list, if you'd like, as Mick has done in the chat, you're welcome to post your email there or privately to Alberto Loya, who, if you'd like to be on the email list for future emailings. And I think with that, we will invite Marianne to bring us home with the closing verse from Rudolf Steiner and the beautiful Ultra to bring us the closing verse of the Grail.
Thank you. To us is given at no stage to rest. We live and we strive, the active human being from life to life. As plants grow from springtime to springtime, ever aloft, through error, upward to truth, through fetters upward to freedom, through illness and death upward to beauty, to health, and to life.
What mystery is unfolding in the heart fires we are holding? In our hands we are molding the grail in our beholding.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful, beautiful.
The spirit is strong among us. Let's carry that out in the world. Thank you, everyone. Blessings.
Thank you, Hazel.
Thank you. And still a lovely day. I wish you.
Thank you.
And you
You
too.
too. Goodbye.
Beautiful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Our pleasure.